Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy and privileged to be here today to participate in this important webinar to promote and project SWAYE for its real capabilities in addressing the human nutrition as well as the impending immunonutrition conditions that are now warranted. Uh, I'm going to briefly speak on the role of soya supplements in addressing the problems of COVID-19. Uh, it is always a big advantage to be the last speaker because what all we want to say has already been said by the earlier speakers. Nevertheless, I will try to briefly go through the important aspects of the supplement and its contribution to addressing the immunity related problems before us. In fact, what is a food supplement? Food supplements are also called dietary or nutritional supplements, and they are designed to deliver specific nutrients which we may not be consuming in adequate quantities through our diet. To bridge that gap, people resort to consuming supplements. These supplements may be based on vitamins and minerals or a combination of macro and micronutrients as designed to deliver the benefits to the consumers. And these supplements can be in different formats. It may be in a powder form, in a capsule form, in a tablet form, or a liquid form, or any form that we want to deliver the benefits to the consumers in a form that is most accepted and more common in that area. And when we market the supplements, it is very important to prescribe the dosage because we tend to consume thinking that these are all very good for nutrition and health in larger than necessary quantities. Consumption of these nutrients in higher amounts than required can be really harmful. And that is why it is very important for the supplement manufacturers to prescribe the required dosage that is to be taken, which is arrived at by taking the bioavailability of that nutrient as well as the relative care in the nutrient availability generally in that region. If we look at the market size of dietary supplements, it is estimated at around 2.5 billion US dollars in India. And it is growing rapidly, around 20% compounded annual growth rate. And it is expected that by 2022, the market for dietary supplements will grow to near 6 billion US dollars. It's a huge number, and it only shows how much the people are now inclined to look at supplements to address their nutritional deficiencies or nutritional needs. Among the supplements, the largest share is vitamins and minerals, followed by herbal supplements like Chyawanprash and like products. And the protein supplements constitute about 25% of the supplement market. As Sharath was mentioning, behind every catastrophe, there are windows of opportunities. So in these conditions of pandemic and epidemics, the role and the relevance of dietary supplements to address the nutritional and immunomodulating benefits are rising. Therefore, the interest in supplement market is rising during this COVID-19 pandemic. And also, globally, there is a decline in the consumption of poultry, meat, and chicken, and meat and other related products, seafood products across the globe. And this phenomenon is expected to increase the demand for plant-based protein supplements in the near future. We are already seeing there is a big growth of the non-meat meat sector coming up in US, European countries, and also started to grow in India. These high moisture meat analogs made from vegetable proteins, particularly high quality proteins like soy protein, are going to be the major players in this field of food and nutrition in years to come. The future market growth of supplements. All these years we have been taking supplements to compensate for some vitamin C or B complex or some, depending on the condition of the people, we choose the supplement. But with this global phenomenon of pandemic coming up in the last 5 to 6 months, the driver for growth of dietary supplements is mainly on immunonutrition. People have started discussing what is good, what ingredient in food, what nutrient is good for me developing. It has aroused a great interest among even not so scientifically oriented people to discuss more on immunity as a reason and as a solution for addressing the immunity problem on the COVID-19 infection problem. So the growth is phenomenal. It is going to be fantastic in future. And this is the immunonutrition is the one that will drive the supplements business in years to come. Suresh has already given Kavita and Suresh have given a very detailed, elaborative list of nutrients, directors of immunity, improving immunity, protein, which is central to immunity improvement and development, and antioxidants like vitamin A, vitamin C, and vitamin D, which is very important for reducing the risk of respiratory infections and help reduce the release of too many pro-inflammatory cytokines. Dr. Kavita has beautifully explained the role of cytokines in addressing the immunity problem. But vitamin D is relevant to us in supplement business only if we are using full fat soy ingredients. It's not very common for people to use full fat soy ingredients for supplements, and therefore in that context it may not be very relevant. Then among the minerals, zinc, selenium, and magnesium are very important for immunity building, and we are already talking about it. Everybody talks about zinc. If you go and ask in the pharmacy for a zinc supplement like Zincovit, the answer is 99% of the pharmacies say they have been sold out, not available. That shows the level of awareness people have on the role and relevance of these minerals like zinc, selenium, and magnesium in addressing the pandemic problems through immunity building. What makes protein so essential? We all know that protein is a versatile macronutrient that is responsible for our life itself. The life process itself depends on protein because without protein we have no enzymes, we have no hormones, we don't have any regulatory mechanisms in the body that will do the metabolic processes. So protein is a very vital ingredient without which life does not exist. But to our surprise, though we all talk about protein, our intake of protein is much below the recommended levels, the recommended daily intake of ICMR, which is about 1.8 to 1 gram per kilogram body weight. A survey conducted in about 5 years back brought out the fact that nearly 73% of our population is deficient in protein. And 93% of our population are not aware about the daily protein requirements. We say that protein is important, but we do not know how much protein we need to take. But it is not merely how much of protein we need to take. What is really relevant and important is what quality of protein we are taking. Because all proteins are not the same quality of proteins in respect of their nutritional value. And then when we talk of soy, there are so many sources of protein. We have hundreds of sources of protein. So why we talk of soy? Soybean has the highest protein density. No other vegetable source of protein or animal source of protein has that type of protein density like soybean. Not only the protein density, it has the highest protein quality comparable to other much talked about sources like milk and egg and meat. And it contains all the essential amino acids which Dr. Suresh has explained. Not only essential amino acids, but conditionally essential amino acids also are important from soy. For example, glycine. Dr. Kavita has mentioned about glycine and its role in immunity nutrition by reducing the by reducing the cytokine storm, helping in regulating the problem of cytokinesis, cytokines. It's a very important role that is played by a non-essential but conditionally essential amino acid like lysine. More importantly, from the point of view of economics, it is the most accessible protein. India is the fifth largest soya producing country, very significant soya producing country, with an annual production ranging from 10 to 12 million tons. Depending on the weather conditions during the growing season, it may be slightly less or slightly more, but around, we have been doing around 10 to 12 million tons for the last maybe 10 years. So we have abundant soybean available. Even when our requirements go beyond our production, we are in a situation to get the best quality of protein from other countries, which are big soya producing countries like United States. So there is no limitation of accessibility of soya as a protein source. And it's the most affordable. If we look at the economics of per kilogram protein from various sources, soybean is the cheapest source, far below the number two position. Soya is much lower than the cost of protein per unit weight, and it is acceptable. We are in India with soybean for the last half a century. We have been producing soybean and consuming soybean for the last half a century, and it's no longer a relatively unknown source of protein for us. Everybody knows about soya, and today in the market, if you go, people who are critical about soya, on the labels of food products, when they read soya ingredients, they tend to pick up that product because they know, they are aware that this is a healthy product. So it is highly accepted in different forms. Dr. Sharma has explained about soya milk and tofu, and Dr. Suresh has explained about other products which are already common, which are already preferred, and very popular with all the people here. So these are the advantages of soy and the answers why soy. Of course, not elaborate. This is only an illustrative, but still highlight the important reasons why we choose soy. So if we look at the nutritional benefits that we get, it's a condensed nutrition table from what Dr. Suresh has given. And it is confined only to defatted soya and soya protein isolate, which are the main ingredients that are used in supplements. The protein content 51% in flour, 88% in isolate, dietary fiber. Soya flour is a good source of dietary fiber, and this fiber is not the hull fiber, but this is the cell wall material that is coming during the processing of soybean. The cell wall material consists of 90% of insoluble fiber and nearly 8% of soluble fiber, both of which have physiological importance in our system in addressing gastrointestinal problems or problems of cancer in the colon region. These they play a very important role as a prebiotic in our diet. Then the minerals like iron, zinc, and selenium, antioxidants. Soya is a very good source of iron. Iron of good bioavailability, because in protein isolate particularly we have no dietary fiber, which we may think may bind some of the iron from availability. But iron in defatted soya flour is also said to be very highly biologically available, so also zinc and selenium. So this is the importance of using soy in nutrition supplements that are tailored for addressing the immunity conditions. Now this, Dr. Suresh has explained, soybean contains all the essential amino acids at a level that meets or exceeds the requirements of different age groups, the 2 to 5 year old, the 10 to 12-year-old, and the adult patterns. The amino acid content in respect of each of these essential amino acids far exceed the requirements prescribed by different age groups by FAO, WHO. And therefore, soya protein is an ideal protein, meeting the standards of a complete protein as laid down by WHO and FAO. So on account of the high amino acid content and the good digestibility of soy protein, the protein quality score also is quite high. We are the highest bracket of protein quality on par with milk protein and egg protein and other cereal proteins and wheat gluten being very, very low. This is the reason why Dr. Kajita has explained that we need to eat either a rice or a chapati with a dal or with something like a good quality protein like soy protein so that we compensate for the deficiencies of amino acids in our basic meal. So soy protein supplements that we are talking about, there are different types based on defatted soya flour. The largest produced supplement from defatted soya flour happen to be energy food. This is a product that was based for child nutrition programs in many states in India, but some of the states seem to have discontinued this. I'm not sure of the current time, but in some places it is still being used. Energy food is a product that is produced by roasting technology, where the wheat or other cereal is roasted, pulverized, mixed with defatted soya flour and sugar to produce a product that is highly acceptable and palatable to the children in the Anganwadis, where they make a porridge or a drink out of it or make some sweets out of it and consume as a protein source. And this product was designed to deliver 12 grams of protein and 400 calories, and it is an excellent product for most economical, most affordable, and highly nutritious product for the children's feeding programs. It is not a supplement, but textured soy protein is a mainstream food. But it is actually a miracle food. Textured soy protein is the largest growing soya product in the country today. I think we produce something like a 500,000 tons of textured soy protein in India, and it is growing at a rate of 18 to 20% annual growth rate. And textured soy protein, being a high source of protein, almost 50% is protein, and it is used as a meat substitute or a vegetable alternative to meat or as a vegetable supplement. And this can be easily fortified with our vital nutrients to address the immunity problems. and then it becomes a affordable, immunity improving food, not as a supplement, but as a main food. It will be a boon to our country if we can fine tune this product and add some of the essential nutrients like zinc, selenium, iron while processing it, and position it as a healthy alternative or healthy food for addressing immunity, both protein and other micronutrients. And coming to the isolate based products, we have protein powders, which are high protein containing supplements. Then protein supplements, which are intermediate protein delivery. Then we have protein bars, which deliver good quantity of protein per serving. Then also bakery products like biscuits and protein fortified bread and things like that. And there is another product which we need to really look at is a high energy, high protein, ready to eat product. In most of the African and some Asian countries, is a product that was administered called a plumpy nut made out of groundnut, very high energy and quite a good protein source given to severely malnourished children. And the response has been fantastic in terms of regaining their, their, their health back. So a similar product based on soy can address the nutritional requirements for severely malnourished children through a product similar to plumpy nut. And it's very easy to make. It is like a peanut butter that we make. We can make soy nut butter, fortify with additional calories and make it a product that is acceptable, that conforms to World Food Program standards. And this is something which can be exploited by our soy food industry because it has enormous potential and possibilities, not only in India, but in countries of Africa. So these are some of the examples. These are all just illustrative, not complete. Some of the supplements that are available. Protein powder of Amway, soy growth is another supplement, Protein X, Danone, Protein X, performance protein powder of Herbalife, Soy Vita of Riddhi Siddhi, our chairman's product. Then Horlicks Protein Plus, which is now a product that has been formulated with three sources of protein, out of which soy protein is an important component, and well is another protein powder from Modi Care, which is largely distributed in northern India. So we have similarly the bar products. What is more well known in India is the Max Protein. Right Bite is the brand name, and this is a product which is doing extremely well. And this delivers something like 20 grams of protein per serving, which is fantastic for a bar product. It is almost a meal substitute and soya based, and therefore can deliver very good immunity benefits. Then we are all familiar with this gym type of products with a very high protein delivery. Maybe some of them are hydrolysates and some of them are intact proteins, but they are very well known and very popular with weight gainers, weight losing, weight gainers, and gym workers. So if you look at the nutritional value of the different supplements, what they deliver in terms of more importantly, the immunonutrients, protein levels vary, but depending on the serving size, the per serving delivery of protein is more or less same. Then some of them are rich in vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D. They deliver zinc, more importantly, iron, magnesium, and selenium. Some of them have also selenium, like Soy Vita, Protein X, and Right Light. Nutrilite protein powder has 80% protein and also all the essential amino acids that are required with the PD class of 1. That is largely based. 80% of that product is soya protein isolate. rest of it is wheat protein, and the third protein is some other protein, but it is a complete plant protein product and delivers about 80% protein. And they have not indicated the micronutrient delivery, but whatever comes from soya naturally comes as micronutrient benefit from these products. Soya Beta is a product which is one of the earliest supplements based on soy protein isolate in India, and I can say that it's the best tasting soy supplement in the country. It has excellent taste profile and delivers all the important nutrients. I think what we need to do is the producer supplements may take a look at the micronutrient delivery pattern, fine tune them to make them come to the level of immunonutrient status, and then project these products, position these products as immunonutrient products, immunonutritional products. And these will have enormous possibilities in the next 10 to 12 years, 10 to 20 years, because the whole world is looking for foods and food products that provide immunity benefits. So this is briefly what I wanted to mention. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak here. And if you have any questions towards the end, I will also be happy to answer.
Thank you, Dr. Krishna Garu. You have very much explained about that high dense nutrition requirement of the body. People are talking about micronutrients only